Cameras. Hi, and welcome to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles. But before we get started, a word from one of our supporters.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Hi, and welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles, and you already know I'm excited. You know, we have a very engaging membership. We have members who, that pretty much support and attend everything we do. And this member, I see her almost every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Miss Alina Sosa Perez, LCSW. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here today. Very happy.
I'm happy to have you here. And also, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, you know, we are the Miami-Dade Chamber. We say we focus on black business, but we're very proud to also say we focus on our Hispanic members, women, minorities as well. And the one thing I mentioned that Alina has been with us, for the past couple of years. We started this member meetup on Tuesdays on Zoom every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And it started from the pandemic because we were providing information, and Alina came along, and you've been there. It's so great to see you here.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you before we get into what your profession is and your business.
I am an immigrant from Cuba. I came when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
I was the helper of my family because my brother came was 30 days old. So my mom was
30 days.
30 days, a month. And my mom, my dad was turned back at the airport in Cuba because he had sold his car, and the government wanted possession of the profit because that's the way Cuba worked. It has worked. So, so I became like the helper of my family. I spoke English at a very early age, and I think that's sort of established an identity in me to help, to be like a resourceful person. And I think that experience, which was hard because I lost my very loving mamima, which was like a mom, and it still feels that way. Wow. It really made an impact on saying, okay, you gotta find help, and you gotta do what needs to be done. You gotta be resourceful. So in a way, it was an experience that turned out to be really a blessing.
Right.
And besides that, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and besides that, when I grew up, and then I really liked the profession. I started to, when I think I was in junior high, I was in the library looking at Freud and what kind of, what psychology was about. So I was attracted to that since that time. So that started to spark sort of an interest in me about using that resourcefulness to help others.
Okay. So you're the owner and president of Services for Living Well, LLC, a counseling practice dedicated to providing comprehensive mental wellness to the adult community. And again, you kind of just stated how you got to this, but really what was the impetus of you starting this particular, getting in this field?
Well, I was going to be a teacher, and someone said, why don't you be a social worker? It's more versatile.
Okay.
And it's so true. Being an LCSW is very versatile. You could be in politics, you could be in family therapy, you could be in large systems, you could be in small systems. And I like the part about individual therapy because I think I was really working on my own hang-ups, which is something that you get into this profession sometimes to work on your own hang-ups.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm a wounded healer because I've been through many wounds. So it's that kind of really motivated me to say, wow, I want to do something where I help other people. I want to do something where I can reach out and use what I go through to help others. And I think that's my impetus. And then luckily, I was let go of a job where I was 10 years a director of a big HMO and the social work department that I initiated with them. And we had a very interesting kind of thing. We did quality of life, we did phone consults, very innovative program to help people that needed all kinds of help, from counseling to resources. And there was a change in administration. I was there 10 years, and I was then let go. And that gave me the opportunity to say, well, okay, now I'm going to go full time into my practice, because I've been doing my practice on Saturdays,
Okay.
you know, that kind of thing. So that forced me to say, okay, I'm going to go in this direction and become an entrepreneur. And that's when it started. Like, it was in 2018. And now I feel like I'm been around for a while. I still have a lot to learn. I think having the support of the chamber has always been a tremendous thing. Just having those meetings at 4 o'clock, and I call Jean. I say, "Hey, can you connect me with someone?" And there's such a sense of support
Right.
that has helped.
You know, and obviously, as you said, you started your practice around 2018, and then a couple years later, then it's the pandemic. And I know that a lot of folks needed your type of
Yes.
support and
Yes.
your expertise.
Yes.
How did that change your world?
Amazingly, it changed my world. I have a book that I have finished, and it's a ebook. It's called "The Pandemic Opportunity: A Transformation." For me, it provided a transformation. And the book reads about the different scenarios, the surrealistic landscape. One time when I thought my aunt actually was gonna die because she had COVID. Actually, it was my mom. So all this experience sort of said, hey, you can do something to keep helping people. And luckily, which I have a good base of Medicare clients that are not HMO, Medicare opened the telehealth, and the counseling world opened the telehealth. So I could work from home
Right.
while the pandemic was going on. And that was a tremendous blessing. It was a tremendous blessing.
Right. And actually, another interview from another week, we were talking about the medical field and telemarketing, telehealth. Talk about that. As you said,
Change the
now people
landscape.
didn't have to
Yeah.
get in a car and drive to, or
Yeah.
you didn't have to go meet someone.
Yeah, it changed the landscape. I think that's been one of the most revolutionary changes in our history. To me, it really made accessible the whole caring. I already believed in that because I initiated a telemed program
Okay.
at the HMO where I worked.
Right.
So I was very comfortable, and I knew that people would really benefit just from talking on the phone if they did not have time to go to an appointment.
Right.
So I was very comfortable with that, and that was something that just really kept my business going, because it really provided a lot of people that help that they needed, and they weren't able to get out, and there was a lot of isolation.
Right.
I had a lot of the older adults that had a lot of dealings with isolation, so it was really a lifeline. So it was a very significant change, I think, in the landscape of our mental health services and the delivery of it, and I think it's amazingly good, because that's important.
Yeah, I think we were very blessed being here in South Florida, because we could get out, we could actually move about. And so we were fortunate in that respect, where a lot of your northern cities, they were actually locked in. They couldn't actually go to restaurants. They couldn't, in some cities, they couldn't leave the building.
Sure.
Or their apartments, and that's why we got the influx of a lot of folks moving down here. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to take a little break. We're going to learn some information from one of our supporters, and we'll be right back.
Learn and earn today at Miami-Dade College. College graduates earn 56% more than high school graduates and $1 million more in lifetime earnings. A degree from MDC is your path to greater earning power and career success. Choose from hundreds of affordable high-tech and in-demand career programs, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, business, and nursing. Learn and earn today at MDC and fast track your career. Enroll now at mdc.edu/purpose.
Hi, and welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles, and I'm here with Miss Alina Sosa Perez. How are you?
Good. Good
This
to be
is
here.
so great to have you here. Before we went on break, we were talking about how the telemarketing and the fact that, during the pandemic, it changed how business is done. Since then, now we're, I guess, a couple years out. Are you still in that mode, or is there a hybrid of what you're doing now?
Honestly, I do find that I get cabin fever if I'm in remote too long. Okay?
Right.
I do go to the office. I see people at the office too, and I feel like I'm journeying to be more involved with
Right.
maybe teaching, going back to training, because I do think there's a downside to this remote situation. We're finding out that people are isolating. Sometimes you're looking at things in the house that have to be done, and it's like, you don't have the boundaries that you have when you're in the office. So I like the hybrid idea because it gives people a choice, and then you can avoid the traffic. But then I think you need that connection with people.
Yeah, and to your point, it is very challenging if you're in business and you're just locked in to a screen, or you need to get that interaction with people, get out.
Yes.
Talk about that a little
Yes,
bit.
I am very glad you bring that up because I am involved with corporate wellness and mental health.
Okay.
And basically it means people that work. How do you keep healthy, right? Mm-hmm. As an entrepreneur, it's one of the hardest things for me because you have total control of your schedule.
Right.
So how much there's no one to blame. You're not there from 9 to 5. If you got to do something at 11, you got to do it. So that whole idea of structure and balance and being able to balance being on your own and then being with people, it's really important because we are creatures of habit.
Right.
And if we start getting more comfortable with, laying back at the house, it's kind of easier, boom, boom, boom. What happens? We get lazy about doing other stuff. So we have to have a balance of that remote, even the rest and the work. And that's one of the biggest challenges, I think, as a society, because we have been trained to sometimes be A personalities. Go, 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 go. And there's no balance. So we get guilty. How do you, the management of time,
Right.
that whole process of balance is a work process, and it's about not only the methods, but really looking at yourself and saying, okay, what works for me? Because you have to also respect that as well.
And when I'm listening to you, and I guess, as you say, entrepreneurs, they're A-type personalities, they're go, 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 go. And there's this one thing that a lot of us have a challenge with, and that's saying no. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes. I think I'm learning to say no, put boundaries, because if you try to, I think in our pursuit, let me speak for myself, in my pursuit of being a successful entrepreneur, sometimes there's almost a sense of going too fast forward. So I think the key is to really look at yourself and say, okay, how do I get to the goals, yet do it in a calm and confident manner? Mm-hmm. I think that's the key, that you are cultivating that peace to say, hey, I can do this. And also build competency. I find that that's very important.
Right.
And the more I see that what I'm doing, the more I see that what I don't know that I'm
Right.
doing.
Okay.
The more I do it, the more I see what I don't know.
Right.
It's kind of a little scary. Mm-hmm. It makes you like, oh, yeah.
Well, and when you say that, it brings me to this thought. There's this saying, don't let perfection be the enemy of progress.
Nice.
And again, we all want to get from A to B or C or wherever that is, but we want to make sure that it's like perfect before we take the next step. And I also remember Richard Branson, and you talk about Virgin Airlines, and he said he didn't know anything about building an airline, but he built it as they flew.
That's true.
So talk about that a little bit.
Okay, I think it's like anything in life, okay? The more experience you have, the more you learn. Okay, I learned how to do this. This is not working because of this. So, or this is working because of this. And I think it's really paying attention to your experience. Really hard sometimes being in the present, not being in the, oh my God, how am I gonna, get my income to be this way in the next 3 months? Because if you get too hooked on that, on the outcome, it's like you say, in a way, it's a little different, but it's that perfectionism of, I've got to have control.
Right.
And one of the things about being an entrepreneur, sometimes the control is not as clear cut as when you're in a structure environment.
Right. And you talk about that, and as you say that, you always hear me say, getting the back of your house together.
Yes.
We're talking about structure.
Yes.
We're going to flip the script a little bit. Talk about the chamber. As you said, you came in, you sat in, you listened for a while, then you became a member. Why was it important for you to become a member of the chamber?
I think I need support from other like-minded people that are going through the
Exactly
same kind of
what we're
problem.
talking about.
Exactly.
But go ahead.
That's it. That support, hearing people, hey, this happened to me, or I feel, okay, I'm not alone. It's the whole concept of the whole group work. It's group. I mean, as human beings, we are wired to connect. Okay. There's a whole study in Dartmouth College, hardwired to connect. We have to connect, otherwise we get sick. Okay. We will get sick. If we have a community that's disconnected, we will be a town that will not be healthy, a city that will not be healthy. So I think that's it, the connection, the support, the relationships that you build. I've built friendships. I mean, I wish I could build more. I think I have to build more. But I have built some good friends out of networking that have been tremendously valuable mentors and friends and confidants. So I think it's about that connection. And I think we're very fearful to connect sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm talking about myself too.
Right.
I do.
No, I think, for the most part, we are, how do I put it? Extroverts, were they omniverts? we because again, being an entrepreneur, you're that go-getter, but at the same time, you got that other personality that says, well, I want to fall back. And not everyone is, that person that's always out charging. And there are folks who really want to be behind the scene, but then they make this decision that they want to be an entrepreneur, so you have to balance that.
Yes, that's such a well-put statement that you made, really, that we are both. Because, I mean, there are some people that I know that are on all the time, and I admire that, really, but I am not.
I don't want to be around those folks. I can only take them for so long. But anyway, go ahead.
But I really think that, again, it goes back to respecting your style, but at the same time, challenging yourself.
Right.
Because it's easy to, intelligent people really know how to make good excuses about things.
Right.
Okay,
This is
that's
true.
one of the things that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of a little fact that is true. So we're good at telling stories and saying, hey, it's okay, but the okay might be a way to shield you from fear. And being an entrepreneur, you have to be in the kind of discomfort zone, for me, sometimes more than when I was in a structured job.
Because the discomfort will make you step up.
Yes.
If you're comfortable, you're kind of just moving along.
Yes.
And when you get discomfort because you're dealing with whatever challenges, it makes you resolve and look at the issues that you're dealing with. This has been a great conversation. If someone wants to get in touch with you, how can they?
My company is Services for Living Well. I am reachable at 305-608-6462, and they could also look at my website, servicesforlivingwell.com, where I do have the different services that I do, and I am now promoting digital self-help products, and it's, the one I'm promoting right now is about relationships.
Okay. You want to know more about the Chamber, go to 305-751-8648, m-dcc.org. This has been the Miami-Dade Chamber Member Connection. Thank you for joining us. Today, I stand before you, a proud graduate of Miami-Dade College and the 5th president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored to return to the college that prepared me to become a leader in our community, providing an education second to none. So I'm asking you to please tune in every Monday at 12 noon to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce's Member Connection as I interview members of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce on our Facebook page at Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce or our YouTube channel, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. To learn more about the Chamber, please go to m-dcc.org or call the Chamber at 305-751-8648.